And Jeremy Nofke, our chef, he is a systems pro, and we've had systems set in from them being, I honestly am like, well, are you sure you want to interview me? Like, I'm sitting here with 2 veterans that I'm so thankful that they're
I want to talk to them too,
letting me be at the table with them. But we're very much like, let's set systems, but we're also, Dusty and I talk a lot about, like, nothing's a sacred cow for us. Like, nothing can't be changed. And I very much am like, this isn't working, let's change it. And I'll tell it to myself, and I'd give myself a certain amount of days or time, depending on it, to sit on it. And if it's not working, like, let's talk about how we fix it. Because, like, we're in our first year.
Yeah.
And over at SoPro, we always treated it like a startup. A decade in, we were like, what's next? We're going to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And, like, we just stay in startup mode. And, I'm really happy there. So it's always fun to try to, like, take it to the next level or make it special, make it something. I don't want to be complacent and be like, well, we had our numbers, we got it. I'm like, let's chase the next thing.
This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, co-founder, GM, and head of marketing at Big Trouble, Emily Curry. My lady, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm feeling mostly unstoppable.
Mostly unstoppable.
I feel like I can't be stopped by 99% of the people.
I will take it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
There's somebody out there that can stop me.
I mean, that's pretty good.
They're not here today, though.
I think that's a good place to start today. And I'm psyched to be here. I've actually eaten at your restaurant going back, I want to say it was almost a year ago. And he was awesome. The food was amazing. Jeremy was amazing. Your chef was amazing. The food was, like, the experience was amazing. And I knew in that moment that I'd be coming back and talking to you. And Mary made the connection on this trip. And we also had Robert St. John and his folks talking about how great Jeremy was. 20 years at Crescent Grill.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I know I'm in good company today. I know you have a truly inspiring story. You got started young and you proved a lot of people wrong. And I think that's great. I can't wait to dive into it. But real quick, before we have you share your success quote or your mantra, paint the big picture. What is Big Trouble today?
Big Trouble is an Asian fusion restaurant. We tried to avoid saying Asian fusion, but that is what it is. Primarily a lot of, like, Szechuan China region, but we'll feature Korean dishes, we'll feature Vietnamese dishes. We just anything under the sun that has Asian influence in it. And it is also a great bar, and it is the brainchild of me and Jeremy Nofke, who you mentioned, Dusty Frierson. He was also worked with Jeremy Nofke for decades, and we all worked together at SoPro on the tap room and putting the restaurant in there, and we're like, let's do another thing, and this is it. And we knew that Hattiesburg needed something like this and wanted something like this, and so far they've proven us right.
Yeah. Mostly dine in. You also do takeout?
We do.
Delivery?
We do
catering?
Delivery. Yes, we do catering.
Supper club?
We do supper club.
So a lot of cool things happening. Total net or total gross. Sorry, total gross.
Income wise?
Yeah. Well, no, total. Like, what is the company bringing in? Like your annual gross, like the company.
We're only a year old, so
Okay.
I don't really know that those numbers are relevant to what it's going to be.
You're still in the building phase. And how many seats?
We have 88 seats in the dining room, and we have 24 seats in the bar.
Okay. And I think it's worth also mentioning that you have a really great background coming up through Southern Prohibition, which is one of the most well-regarded restaurants. And Jeremy is still the executive chef there, correct me if I'm
Yes,
wrong.
he has a partnership in this, and he is still the chef over there at Southern Prohibition.
And I'd love to get into how you guys get that all figured out. Because I've noticed there's a lot of, like, partnerships can be weird, especially when there's like what I like to call, like, restaurant polyamory, you know, when we share partners. Yeah. But I think that I love that when I see that. So, okay, I can't wait to dive into it. Before we go to the beginning of your story, let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Oh my God, I wrote it down so I wouldn't say it wrong. So I'm going to look at my phone again. Great vision without great people is irrelevant.
Great vision without great people is irrelevant. Dive into that.
Yes, that is Jim Collins. I'm actually rereading his Good to Great book right now.
Nice.
I think that you start with the people. You start with who. You can have a great idea, but if you don't have the right people to do it and the right way to do it, it's not going to be special. It's not going to be easy to succeed without the right people in the right seats.
You're only as good as the people you
Yes.
surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
Find every great restaurant's a great person. And I like to say what determines your growth is cash flow and people. It's when those things are overflowing that you take the leap and go to the next location or whatever. So I couldn't 100%. I agree. I mean, in terms of you and you have how many partners?
We have 4 partners.
Okay.
We have 4 partners. Our investor is mostly uninvolved. We are so lucky to have them doing our HR. They are our accounting office, and that's their partnership.
I'm making a note here.
Yeah.
4 partners.
Yes.
I can't, because I think that there's going to be some lessons in that too.
Yeah.
When is your first year technically?
We were a year old in December.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're babies.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. We did it.
All right, let's go back to the beginning of your story.
Yes.
2008 is what your LinkedIn tells me in terms of your first experience in food and beverage. Does it go further than that?
No, I mean, not really. I think I worked as a waitress at an Outback for a few weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what was going on? You went to school for business administration, marketing?
I did. I went to Mississippi State University. I actually started out in chemical engineering, and that did not pan out for me. And I was like, I am going to go get this business degree, and got into marketing and really enjoyed the production management courses and all of that jazz. And I, at the time, was working at a place in Starkville called City Bagel Cafe, and they were great. And it was just one of those jobs where everybody just got in and got it done, and we were a team and we worked well together, and it was a fun, great time.
Yeah. And did you have a vision for yourself at this point? Did you think that you'd be working in restaurants for the rest of your life, or even an owner?
No, I didn't. I enjoyed working in the restaurant, and I went and did management at a restaurant chain for a little while, and was like,
Nukes.
yeah, I'm not there yet on being an organized leader. And so I went actually back to City Bagel. I was like, I tried to grow up. Can I have my job back?
Okay. So what was it about that experience at Nukes that was more than you were ready for?
I was leading, we had 72 employees. I was the people manager.
Okay.
But I will say, I still think a lot about the training program we went to. It was this 6-week stay in a hotel, go do a training program at one of their training stores, and I learned a lot from it.
So when you were hired with Nukes, were you hired as a manager?
I was hired as the people manager.
People
yes.
manager. And what is the people manager? What did that job entail?
We take care of the people.
So HR?
Kinda. We took care of the customer facing things, and then just making sure that we had the team that we needed out front. It was more customer facing people.
Okay. So you get hired as the people manager. How long? So you made it through the training.
Yeah.
You onboarded. Where were you based?
Starkville.
Where is that?
It's north. It's 3 hours north of here.
Okay. Is that close by Oxford, that area?
You could upset some people confusing the two in
I'm
the
sorry.
South. This is
I'm
SEC
sorry.
country. It's okay. That's Ole Miss. I was at Mississippi State.
Got it.
But it is probably 3 hours north of here on the east side of the state.
I've been to Jackson. I've been to Oxford.
Mm-hmm. If you went east from Oxford, you would make a triangle.
Got it.
And then
so
go
it's
back down
closer
to
to Alabama.
Yes.
Got it. So you're up that way. And how long were you working with Nukes before you went back to the bagel shop with your tail between your legs?
A year.
A year.
A year.
So what was the struggle for you?
I was 21, 22, and honestly just wanted to party and not be as responsible as I needed to be. Not that I wasn't responsible at City Bagel or Nukes. It was just taking care of people is hard, and making sure, especially in it was so well structured, and I came from mom and pop, and we
Can you give me an
drank
example
beers
of how it was well structured? What does that structure look like when you reflect back at it?
Oh gosh, you're making me drag up some deep memories.
Oh, sorry.
They had systems and ways of doing everything, and it was everything's lined up and has a reason, and it's well thought out and it works, but I wasn't ready for that much structure.
Got it.
And I'm not a change everything, reinvent the wheel, but I also like to I make decisions fast.
Right.
I like to change things quickly when I think that they're not working, even younger and not even having the being in the upstart princess
Right.
that I was.
So this is going back 13, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
approximately,
Mm.
right? Now you're in your mid-30s.
Yes.
Reflecting back, knowing what you know now from working at SoPro and management as a CEO,
Yeah.
and we'll get there. Reflecting back, and as the owner here, do you see that experience through a different lens?
Absolutely. Being structured with my time and my ego, and being able to be direct with people, want you to be direct because people don't want to do a bad job. People don't come into work and like, man, I'm going to mess up today and get in trouble. And spending time thinking about the human aspect of it and thinking like, we're not here to screw up. We just need to know what we need to do. And taking those tools that were given to me to guide those people better that I wasn't paying attention to as much as I am now.
Do you think that you were guided well into the power of those tools and those systems?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, clearly not. Because I mean, I did it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I would now.
Right. I mean, I'll be honest, to this day, even knowing what I know about what it takes to be successful in the industry, the discipline, the systems, the processes, the culture, I am not an operations person. If you were to take me put me to work in some of the hardest restaurants as a frontline employee, I would suck. Have you ever seen those shows like CEOs Undercover?
Yeah.
And they all suck at their jobs?
Yeah.
But they're great CEOs.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I would probably, because I'm like a dreamer, I'm a visionary, like I like big picture thinking. I am so bad in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I would never do that work. But some people do well with structure. They need it. They want to know what the job done right looks like.
Yeah, just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Right.
And honestly, I'll still have those days some days. Like if somebody's like, I'm calling out in dish, I'm like, can I do it?
Oh, I love
like,
working dish. That's one thing that I do love to do.
Yeah.
Like
I'll go get on the line, and I have people in my life that were like, no, Emily, like you're running a business.
You worked a shift today, didn't you?
I was floor manager and
Okay.
barely did anything.
But I think there's also something to be said in the early days. You're your first year in.
Yeah.
And I think that like it takes that grind to get to the point, right? Where then you slowly start to remove yourself. We'll get there. So back to your time with Bagel, where am I? City Bagel and Nukes. Anything that came up during this time, was there a point during this evolution that you say to yourself, I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Nope.
Okay.
There wasn't. I mean, I essentially didn't, because if you look at like Southern Prohibition, I came on in sales.
Yeah. So 2013 is when that happened.
Yeah.
So not too long. How old were you in 2013? 22, 23?
Oh my God, you're making me figure that
I'm also
out. I was
dating
born
you.
in 1988. I know, I'm 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 13 years ago, 36 now, you're 23 years
23,
old.
yeah.
23 years old. You get hired as the sales and marketing manager.
Yeah.
With a degree in business administration and marketing from Southern Miss.
Yes. Mississippi State.
Thank you very much, Mississippi State.
You're
Just
struggling.
kick me
You're
next
struggling.
time. Kick
You're
me next
mixing
time
up
under
the
the table.
three teams.
Mississippi State.
Yeah,
MS.
you're going to be
MS.
ran out of Mississippi.
Well, Southern Mississippi is in Hattiesburg, right?
Yes, you're
That's
at
why
Southern
I'm
Miss.
getting
I
confused.
actually probably be like, yes, Southern Miss.
Okay, Southern Miss. Got it.
Learn local.
Mississippi State. Heard.
Yeah.
I'll say it right next time. So, what was that like? Why? Like you were excited about this opportunity?
I was.
What was exciting about it?
I wanted a job in something that was, I'm from Mississippi, born and raised in Mississippi, and it was, the beer industry was really exciting at the time. It was growing at a clip. We didn't have we had Lazy Magnolia kind of spearheaded craft beers in Mississippi, and I remember Leslie and Mark, they're actually Mississippi State graduates, like coming into City Bagel. I'm like, those are the owners of Lazy Magnolia. And it was just a cool industry to be in, and I wasn't necessarily sure that sales was something that I wanted to be in, but I knew that I was interested in the industry and a company that is getting off of the ground.
What was Lazy Magnolia?
Lazy Magnolia is a craft brewery in the South.
And what are they known for?
They're known for Southern Pecan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they have any influence on the industry?
they had influence on the industry, and like they're involved in the Brewers Association, and they changed legislation to be able to even open a brewery in Mississippi.
When did that all happen?
God, they changed. So the laws changed. I think. Please fact check me on this. I should know all of it because I've done it a million times. But
Yeah.
I push a lot of things on my brain for other things.
I know. We organized this interview last night. I think maybe this morning officially.
Yeah.
You're being very
Remember my
accommodating,
career.
and I appreciate you. And I am putting you on the spot, so I appreciate it.
2012, I believe, is when the laws changed to be able to open a functioning craft brewery. No, because they were open before that. They changed some laws before, whenever I was like in college and drinking like Keystone. But in 2012, they changed some legislation for it to be more accommodating and functioning. And so that's whenever Quimby Chun started working on, he's the owner of Southern Prohibition Brewing, started working on opening a manufacturing brewing in the state of Mississippi.
Got it. Is it a challenge? Was it a challenge in the day to have a brewery in the Mississippi? What was the challenge specifically here in Mississippi with trying to open a brewery?
Oh, opening the brewery, it was, it wasn't a big thing in the state and the legislation. Like he's sitting there trying to be like, I need to do this, and they're coming to do inspections into the facility, and they're like, what are you doing? What is this? But also just, I can speak more on like the sales side of things, of getting out and launching a new brand with shoestring budget and people set in their ways on what they drank, of just any way to get the product to the people, and being like, please try this beer.
Yeah.
Yes, that is $6.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm pushing here is because one of the things I've picked up on recently is that it's getting harder and harder for small operations to do the right thing. Meaning to, like, if you are a small mom and pop, whether that be a restaurant or a brewery, and you want to source locally or do whatever, like the regulations that have been created over the years, I don't know if they were made for today's world.
Yeah.
When I say that, what do you think?
I think that it has opened up a lot more in the last few years with the way. So, God, Crowd Control IPA. It is 10 years old this year. We started doing it as a seasonal because we were like, we can't get these hops like we want to, like in the amount we need to be able to do mass production. And now then it became like we had to sign years and years of contracts for hops, or you buy them on like exchange where people are selling off the hops they don't need to use, or stuff like the farms didn't have to use all of them. And so it was like, we want hops to keep up with the industry and the way IPAs are going, but we as the smaller business didn't have as strong of access unless we're really kind of putting ourselves on the line on what our production is going to be for the next 3 years. And a lot of that has changed over the last few years in the beer industry because there are less craft breweries. Hop yields are different than they were years ago because it's essentially farming. It is farming. It's not essentially farming. It absolutely is a farm. And the suppliers keeping up with the times.
Okay.
And like cans, there were tariffs on aluminum coming in, so our cans that were suddenly, they were going from 8 cents or suddenly 16 cents if we're going to buy a smaller round of aluminum cans, and that's something overnight. But we also have pricing with our distributor partners, with our Kroger's and grocery stores, that were like, we agreed to this price and you can't just change it overnight, so you have to eat it.
Yeah, I know, like, in the little research I was able to do on you this afternoon before coming here, I know it was a challenge for you personally. One of your challenges was the adapting to the heavy regulated world of breweries.
Yeah.
And, like, navigating those waters.
Mm-hmm.
Has it gotten better?
It has. We changed some legislation in 2021. COVID legislation, whenever the world stopped, and we were like, we can sell more out of our tap rooms, because it was a limited amount. Whenever we first started doing the brewery, you could pay money to do a tour and get samples afterwards. And then it was, you can buy so much beer in the tap room. We could sell food, but we couldn't sell liquor. And then our to go, you could only sell so much beer to go. And then it was 2021 where they're like, yes, you can get a liquor permit, you can sell more for your off premise. And so that's when we brought Jeremy Nofke on, and Dusty came and consulted on putting in the restaurant and the flow of the tap room.
And this is SoPro, Southern Prohibition.
Yes.
Got it. So back to you and your personal struggles from, I think it was 2012 or 14 or 12 when you came on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second.
I was 2013.
13 was when you joined SoPro, sales and marketing manager. By 2016, you were the vice president. In 2018, you were the CEO.
Yeah.
So, like, talk first about that time between 2013 and 16. What were your challenges during that time that we haven't addressed?
I was just learning how to do the job. I had, we were a small team, and Ben, our head brewer, was like working tirelessly in the brewery every day. Quimby was taking on a lot, owning a business, and I didn't, we didn't knowing the quote unquote burden that he had then. We were just trying to do a good job, and definitely at the table, because he led us at the table and trying, but there wasn't really a roadmap in the state of what we were doing, and I was just learning what I could where I could. Quimby is a great business owner, and Ben's a great brewer, and we were given the tools we had and learning the things we did, but it was just kind of learn as we go.
What made Quimby a great owner?
He said it was okay to screw up, and was like, as long as you're trying and learning, and just go. And it's not for everybody. Like, some people are like, tell me what to do, and some days I was like, what do you need done? But for me, it was great because he was just like, just go sell beer. Yeah.
Did you ever screw up?
All the time.
What was the biggest screw up?
Oh God, I went and in 2016 went and landed a great distribution package for Kroger's. Well, just Kroger. I put the S at the end of it sometimes. Yeah. Super excited, got all the paperwork done. I put the wrong UPC on one of them, it is the biggest nightmare to fix those kind of things.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting here just being like, trying to call and beg, and I put the wrong UPC on there. And that was...
How much did that mess up cost?
Oh God, it didn't. We just put the we just did put the different beer in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't our better selling beer.
So was it going to a place that had an order, but you sent the wrong order to the wrong place?
No, I set up in their entire system the wrong UPC.
When you say UPC...
at the little barcode.
Oh, okay.
The barcode was scanning for a totally different product.
I thought you were talking about like United States Postal Code or something like that.
Yeah, sorry. I can speak a lot of like beer distribution jargon. That's my big background for me. So.
I'm not an expert in the details.
Yeah.
I'll be the first person to admit that. So, how did that make you feel? And how did he make you feel in that moment when we found out?
He said, fix it.
Yeah. Did he get mad?
I mean, kind of, but I don't he should have been mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What up, Unstoppables? I have a very special offer for you that could potentially change your life. So listen up. Restaurant Systems Pro wants to make 2025 your best year ever. And here's what they're going to do to help. When you sign up for Restaurant Systems Pro through February of 2025, they will do your books, your 2024 books for you at zero charge. Nothing to you, no cost to you to do your books. Plus, you're going to get all of the Restaurant Systems Pro profitability systems. So this is such a no-brainer deal. If you've heard of Restaurant Systems Pro in the past, listening to the podcast, and you've been interested, now is the time to sign up. Head to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP or click the link below and make 2025 your best year ever. How do you think you grew the most during this first 3 years?
The first 3 years, I became more organized as a person. I'm trying to think, like 2013 to 2016, I was on the road a lot. I became
slinging beer.
Yeah, became. I can't say I was ever like a great manager for other sales reps because like them being they live in Memphis, I live in Hattiesburg, but I learned to be more organized and definitely more forgiving of myself for making mistakes. I still have like a healthy dose of imposter syndrome, and I like overcame a lot of that during that time, and I read a ton of books. I like read a ton of leadership books. I read a lot of business books, but I definitely wasn't my like best person. I wasn't my best self. I'm proud of the things that I've learned along the way, but I wasn't thriving as a super leader.
In terms of organization, you said more organization or more time management? Which one was it?
Time management and organization. So
like, give me an example of what you were doing before and how you made that, like, what was the improvement specifically?
Oh, this is still on distribution, on our restaurant podcast. It was me just being like, I'm going to go do this market this day. I'm going to go do this market this day to like, give these people a heads up. And then also making that promise of when you're going to come back was really important, especially like making connections with bars and restaurants and off-premise, which is package stores and grocery stores, saying to that bartender that has so many people coming in to try to sell them a product of saying, hey, I'm going to come do this, and then I will be back to do this in a month. And they're like, okay, like I'm going to see you again. I can rely on you to sell your product and give me the information I need. Whereas, we were just going in and being their buddy. Yeah. Being the bartender for the bartender.
Yeah. I think it's weird. Like I'm listening to you and I'm kind of relating my life to your story right now, where like for the longest time, my approach to finding guests, because I wanted to take a journalistic investigative and like, who am I to decide who I should be made an example of. I just wanted to go into cities and start talking to people and then start like asking successful restaurateurs, like, who are you scared of? Who's on your heels, or who's beating you, or like, who do you respect? Who do you admire? Like, who else should I get on the show? And then you just listen. And then when the same names start popping up, these people that have collective respect and admiration from their community, like that's okay. Like these are the people I want to be talking to. And then usually there was an introduction associated with that. Like usually I don't think I make people think I'm a jerk, like usually, oh, you're a good guy, you're doing good work. Like I'll make an introduction and things just kind of blossom. But being on the road 3 to 4 months at a time to be able to accomplish that, is that sustainable long term? No. Like, can I have a family someday if I want to do that? Or, that work-life balance. It's lonely on the road, even though I'm meeting all these people. Like, I don't have like those regular relationships in my life. So how do I go from that to say, okay, over the past 11 years, like these are the things that I know to be true and the things that I want to go deeper down, and the people I know I can go to speak about these things. How do I prioritize what I want to talk about and let them know in advance I'm coming to see them? Yeah. Right? Because to like be intentional.
Respecting people's time is helping you respect your own time.
Yeah.
So that's totally a lesson to be learned in itself.
But I think there is something to be said about when you're just getting started, like you're just getting out there and meeting people and getting a lay of the land. Mm-hmm. But over time, that pendulum starts to swing where you have an understanding of who to talk to. Like you start getting an idea, and then you can use that information, that data you've collected, to put a strategy together. And it seems like that also kind of maybe influenced you.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what organizational intentionality is what I wrote down. You started saying, okay, these are the people I want to talk to, and you're going to tell them when you're coming back. Why is that follow-up so important?
Because they know that you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. I'm not going to waste a ton of your time. I do love wasting people's time because it's fun, and chit-chatting is great.
I'm pretty talented at it too.
Yeah. But it just made me also say, I have that commitment, so I have to go back. I've already made that commitment to that person. Don't say something to a person unless you're going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, we're talking about distribution right now.
We're talking about selling beer.
But it's all food and beverage.
It is.
It's all in the world of food production, beverage production. I think there's overlay here with just generally like catering, right?
Yeah.
Like following up on sales leads. Like, I'm going to come back, or like, what's your schedule? Like any big events that might be in, like, oh, like I'll check in with you. Just sharing, like being that intentional with relationships. I feel like.
Well, it's also just, it's marketing. It's like, remember me, choose me. Yeah. So and being persistent in it.
Yeah. In terms of marketing, any lessons from that time that you still apply today?
Have you looked at much of my marketing for Big Trouble?
Are you saying there's room for improvement?
Oh yeah, for sure. But don't be so serious all the time. Like, you just be genuine and be somebody that somebody wants to be around, and be their story. Like, listen to their story, tell your story, and people will like it.
So when you say be genuine, what is the if you choose not to be genuine, what are the threats of that?
Oh, I can just smell it. Like, I'll watch a Instagram reel, and for some business, I'm like, you didn't make this. I don't know that this is you. And I'm,
right.
I'm making this assumption in my head, but I'm still making that assumption. Whereas I see another place like talking about their staff members or just making fun of themselves a little bit, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're one of me. Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah.
Are you making that content for your friends, or are you making it? Are you doing what you think you're supposed to do? Are you saying, like, are you writing down your core values because that's what good core values are supposed to look like, or is that literally what you show up to every day?
Yeah.
To act like.
Yeah. People will look, especially looking for a local restaurant. They're looking for information on what they're getting into, what specials you have, but they're also but getting the neighborhood involved and being part of it and feeling like they're in on the joke on some things. It goes so far. I have people that will, like, I had a girl make me, I made some offhand comment on social media. She made me a meme for it, and I thought it was hilarious. She came in with her family. I recognized her from stalking her Instagram page, and like bought her lunch, and now she like comes in all the time, and everybody's like, hey, and so she's a customer now because
that's a real human reaction. Yeah, I love that. What was going on in 2016?
2016, I say I was the VP because I was moving out of sales, and like we're terrible with titles over there anyway because it's a team doing everything. But I was doing, Kwame was like, let's focus on culture, let's focus on people, and getting our team growing. And the Southern Prohibition was having a lot of good growth, and we were able to bring on sales team. And so he was like, just let's do all of these things and figure it out and grow. And
so you were moving yourself out of the sales role and growing with the organization, focus more on like people systems,
and I was in helping with production and getting product out the door, and just focused on putting people in the right places,
putting the right people in the right seat.
Yeah.
How old is Southern Prohibition in 2016?
3
years. So it was started in 2013 when you joined. So you're there from the beginning.
I was, yeah.
Okay, cool. You said it was experiencing growth.
Yes.
Like I know you were the CEO at one point, and I don't know what kind of information you're privy to share with no longer being with the organization, but can you give us an idea of like where it grew to by 2022? I'm
not going to share any sales of theirs because of this.
It's not your place.
It's not my place, and I don't have that permission. But I can say that we, in those years, grew from distribution in just Mississippi to distribution in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, 5 states, and we're getting a lot. Like we landed some great accounts, and we're getting some accolades, and it was seeing great growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point in 2016, are you just like a brewery distributing beer, or do you have a kitchen?
We did not have a kitchen yet. We were just a brewery distributing beer. We went from like giving samples on our back loading dock to building out like a nice room for people to hang out and to sample beers, but we were not selling beer at that point.
You weren't selling it like out of the brewery, like in cans, to people that could come and take their beer home with them?
Correct.
Got it.
We were just doing distribution and tours with samples.
So retail and restaurants.
Yeah.
Got it. how did you grow in that 2 years from 2016 to 2018 when you became the CEO? You said you were focusing on people culture, systems.
I'm always going to go back to people and focusing on how to be. And I'm not, still not great at it and learning, but focusing on how to lead people and also learning more in that time about how the company runs in a full function for not just from the money coming in, but the money going out and where we're spending it. Like I got a very good in-depth knowledge and open book from leadership over there about how we can.
So you use open book management?
Yeah.
What does open book management mean to you?
Open book management is, to me, is just giving them the why and saying, here we'll sit down and they'll say, I want to do this. And I don't just say no. And sometimes they convince me and I say yes, but I say, and here's why. Let me tell you, let's do a quick little math lesson with their cell phone and what it does to the bottom line.
Yeah. So how far would you take open book management? Would you share total revenue?
With our sales managers, or yes. My management team knows how much money we make and get to see P&Ls. Here.
But not there.
There, yes, we did that with management teams.
Would you share here are you going over prime costs and cost of labor, cost of goods?
Yes.
Okay.
Management knew that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What is the power of open book management?
It gives people the tools to make decisions for you.
Why? How?
Because they understand the trickle-down effect of me saying, I'm giving away this case of beer for this charity golf tournament. I have to sell 10 more cases to make up for that.
Right.
And those are just basic.
Well, what gets measured gets minded. And I think that I love open book management. And if I'm opening a restaurant tomorrow, I'm going to be in open book management down to the point where I'd be like, this is how much money I make.
Yeah.
This is as the owner of this place, I make, 18% profit, 20% profit. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Honestly speaking, what are your thoughts on that? Down to profit.
There's not, but it's also giving. As long as you can give them the tools to understand it, and then also understand the people that don't work well in that space of open book management. There are people that you're giving me anxiety telling me that we took a net loss in Q1.
Right.
It doesn't. Anxiety for some is not healthy for others.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think it is the right thing to do in terms of where you choose to draw those lines. That's relative to the person. I mean, I'm pretty open book generally. I share information I probably should not. But
Don't tell you secrets.
Yeah, like little secrets. I have no boundaries. But I mean, I think different people have different thresholds for that sort of thing. Yeah. But when you show your team where the money's going, and I think most frontline employees are pretty ignorant to how businesses are run, and they take things for granted. I broke a plate. Oh well, the owner's rich. No big deal. Oh, I'm gonna.
They see my car. They know I'm not rich.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit more than whatever the portion calls for on this plate because I know that person or whatever. When you start understanding how to track pennies and where all the pennies go and how your behavior changes the bottom line. And if you do things like profit sharing and you get involved in that profit sharing, or maybe you're interested in exploring an employee stock ownership program, an ESOP, where you can actually own stock in the company you work for, and how you show up to that company every day dictates your income. When you can create these programs and you can teach people about business and you can give them the tools to see the numbers and see how their efforts influence, then becomes a game. Now it's I want to beat my score last week. How can we do better? Where can we find? Now you're tapping into this whole team of potential energy and perspective and ideas that you would have otherwise limited yourself to because you weren't opening the door.
Yeah. I mean, totally agree with that.
Have you seen that happen?
I have seen that happen. I've seen it happen with here I've seen it happen. Logan is our bar manager, and he very much we've honestly, the last couple months, I will say that we haven't been doing a great job of it because we were grinding through the holidays. I just had a meeting about getting back on the same page and taking care of each other and like taking it to the next level and everything with the front of house staff. But Logan was very much like, oh, you're going to sit down and show me how to manage cost of goods, how to manage inventory. And like, he'll be like, Emily, why are you giving them that beer? I'm like, we had a rough day. Like, yeah. They can have 2 shift beers. And he's focused on putting the restaurant first because he understands where it's going. And has become he can be so brass tacks about things.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with being generous and giving to your team, but are you tracking it? Is the question.
Most days.
Yeah, and it's a lot to keep, control of. Literally. I don't want to make this conversation about what I just talked about earlier today. I was talking to Robert St. John, and they implemented a tool called Restaurant Systems Pro, and how the way that we're talking about it, it's like this like layers of checklists. So you have the frontline checklist, like here's how you open, here's how you build this recipe. Then you have like the AGM checklist of like how to be the checklist checker for your frontline employees. But like where do those layers of checklists stop? Like where's the checklist for the executive team? For like costing, inventory, like are those things getting done, or like purchasing?
Oh, absolutely.
Menu engineering.
Yeah, and Jeremy Nofke, our chef, he is a systems pro, and we've had systems set in from them. I honestly am like, well, are you sure you want to interview me? Like, I'm sitting here with 2 veterans that I'm so thankful that they're.
I want to talk to them too.
Letting me be at the table with them. But we're very much like, let's set systems, but we're also, Dusty and I talk a lot about like, nothing's a sacred cow for us. Like, nothing can't be changed. And I very much am like, this isn't working, let's change it. And I'll tell it to myself, and I'd give myself a certain amount of days or time, depending on it, to sit on it. And if it's not working, like, let's talk about how we fix it. Because like, we're in our first year.
Yeah.
And over at SoPro, we always treated it like a startup. A decade in, we were like, what's next? We're going to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And like, we just stay in startup mode, and I'm really happy there. So it's always fun to try to like take it to the next level, or make it special, make it something. I don't want to be complacent and seem like, well, we had our numbers, we got it. I'm like, let's chase the next thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know what your first question was, or what question am I being answering anymore.
We're talking about open book management, and you mentioned open book management and how you discovered it with SoPro.
Yeah.
And implemented it there.
And being here, and all of these, I don't want to say they're kids because they're adults, but they all call me Nana anyway. But they we can goof around, but they know when to get down to brass tacks, and they know they can come to management or me with ideas because they know that we want to implement change and always be better. And we talk about why we're doing things and why we want to do the next thing.
Yeah, I love that. 2018, you become CEO of SoPro, Southern Prohibition, and you held that title for 4 years until 2022.
Yes.
How did your life change when you became CEO?
Oh my God. Well, okay. So I was coming back from maternity leave, and Quimby, whenever I came back, he said, when you come back, I want you to be the CEO of the company. And I just did it. I don't know. I just had a baby. I was tired, but I was like, I was excited and wanted to keep growing the company that I love and still love. And we had seen some sales growth and made a lot of changes in our legislation and the hospitality side of things. And I got really focused on the tap room, because it's great revenue compared to distribution. It's all great revenue and it's all necessary revenue, but it was right there, and I loved it. I loved like being, you see how much people like your product when you're out in the market and you see somebody that you don't know wearing your t-shirt or drinking your beer, but it was fun to like bring them into our space and say, this is who we are. And so we had changed the laws where we could sell beer to customers in that time and put in a food truck. We had a food truck come in and sell food. And then COVID shut everything down. And we changed some laws then and kept focusing on revenue generation there and putting the right products in the right places in the market and the right team in the market. And when we changed the laws to be able to have the liquor license, I realized I was much more focused on the tap room than I was on the bigger picture of things.
Okay.
And that was
Was this 2022?
Yes.
So
2021, 2022.
So why is that a bad thing if you're the CEO of a company?
Because I'm not focused on the whole thing.
So is that when you realized that you're
Was a bad CEO.
Yeah. Well, why did Quimby want you to be the CEO? Did he ever tell you why he thought you were the person for the job?
If he did, I didn't listen.
Okay.
No. He just because I think he saw that I was constantly trying to grow and be better as a leader, and it wasn't necessarily about being attached to the product as much as it was attached to providing for the team and the company and like wanting to grow the brand in different ways. And I used to be not so great at it whenever a project you took to the finish line or like, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't do it, than I am now. Like now I'm like, yesterday I was writing a business plan for something that I'm never going to do because I couldn't get it out of my head. And I guess he saw that I was pushing to just make people's lives better. Being like, because you know, if something falls through on selling this product or we shut down for 2 days because of weather, I'm thinking livelihoods and taking care of the people.
Right. Big picture.
Yeah.
What was it about food and beverage that took you off the big picture?
It's a genuine connect. It's just, you get to make people happy every day. And it's special that you can just watch in your space. Like, it's almost like bringing people into your home and letting them eat and drink and be merry, and you get to just see it firsthand. And it was really great to see the team that worked in production. They could see the fruits of their labor too. Like, hey, y'all been back there. I mean, that's manufacturing. Now you can come out here and see people enjoy it, and seeing our community come in and enjoy it.
So isn't a restaurant in many ways is manufacturing? It's like the entire like from, you know, purchase like commodity to finished product all in one day, from the packaging to the production to the delivery to the, you know, watching them experience the production in that moment. And like, it's like the full, like, how many different like industries give you from beginning to end?
That, yes, it was that was really great. Just that you can see it all happen. It's like mowing your lawn.
Yeah.
I did it, and you can tell that I mowed the yard.
That's why I love washing the dishes.
I don't. Unless it's in the dish pit.
You get to see that pile just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it's done. Yeah. And you've finished, and there's a sense of accomplishment. But I think you can say the same, like where you plan for the day, you put together the reservations, you figure out who's going to be there, what special events there are, and then you execute on the experience, and then people leave laughing, happy, full. I'm coming back. Thank you so much. It was delicious. And then just dole out love on you. Yeah. It's the best. Yeah. Why did you leave in 2022?
Okay. So Dusty came on, who is a partner here. He came on to consult on the hospitality at SoPro. Nafki was our chef, and Quinby kind of put us all together, and he knew I was like, I'm what's next? I want to do something else. I had some sweat equity in it, but I was like, I want to, take the next risk. Sorry, family. Very supportive husband. And so Quimby was like, do y'all want to open a restaurant together? I was like, yes. This was really, really fun. I had fun coming to work doing the restaurant thing. And I loved working with Dusty, loved working with Nafki. And so, but I had shares in Southern Prohibition Brewing at the time, small shares just earned through the years of work. And due to the 3-tier system, I can't own a manufacturing facility and have a retail facility or a retail outlet in the same state. So I had to make the choice that I couldn't be the CEO of that and come open a restaurant because it's a lot. But I had to make the choice to sell my shares to do something new.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was that a part of the agreement in having shares? Like, what was the reason? Maybe the reason.
Okay,
why
so I can't legally, like, for me to go apply for a liquor license in Mississippi, if they saw that I had ownership of a manufacturing facility, they wouldn't give me a liquor license.
Because of the conflict of interest.
Yes.
Because you would purchase all of your other.
Yes, it's prohibition.
But also laws. At the same time, it's like, what the hell's wrong with vertical integration? Like, why is that such a horrible thing? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a division.
I feel like this is one of the reasons. Like, I consider myself very moderate.
Yeah.
Like, I see both aisles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love this idea of like equality of like, you know, equal rights and, you know, like 100% live your freakiest life, do whatever makes you happy, more power to you. But on the flip side of that, I'm like, do we need to overregulate things to the point where, like, I understand why some regulation is important to keep people happy and healthy and safe, right?
Yeah.
I get that part of it for sure. But I feel like a lot of these laws are made 200 years ago, 100 years ago. And it's just like, do these laws still make sense?
No.
Maybe not 200 years ago.
And there's laws
150 years ago, 100 years ago for sure.
There's laws that like overlap laws, and I could sit down and tell you some loopholes that I'm not gonna.
Yeah, and even laws that were 20 years ago. And also like a lot of these people who are lawyers and millionaires, and they would make laws and they would use the systems to trifle their to hold back their competition.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think we have grown the wiser over time. Like, there are more educated people than ever before, and we see how people use the system to be corrupt. You know, how they create laws. Like, I'm thinking about like the meat packaging and like butchering situation where, like, if you're a small farm, you can't, like, it's so hard to get the certifications to process your own product and sell your own product to the point where the costs associated with outsourcing it, and like, you can't choose to do it inexpensively.
No, you can't.
You know, like, you can't compete with the Purdue's of the world.
And is it because they're like, well, we don't trust them, we don't want some like tainted meat out in the market, or is it them just trying to divide everything?
Yeah, I think there's a Senate woman in Maine who's doing a lot of work to advocate on behalf of small farmers.
Yeah.
Her name's escaping me right now. But I've been in touch with her. I'm so bad. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, just for the record. So I'm starting to, like, my ability to recall isn't usually what it is.
That's okay. I'm so bad at names too. It's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm really interested in, like, what work is being done and how we're changing the systems at the legislative level. I think that's really, I think we need to break down old systems and build new ones. Like, I understand, like 75 years ago, 90 years ago, how the food industry was scaling industrial. Like, we were going coast to coast, and if you had a dirty operation, you could get hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people sick. Right. And I understand why they had to regulate that. But I think we're also, on the same time, getting much more better at learning and understanding what we can distribute information easier than ever before. Like, you can get certified easier than ever before. Yeah. So, like, why are the regulations still, so rigid?
And that meat facility doesn't want to sell tainted meat to people because that's even a bigger problem.
Right.
People don't want to get in trouble.
But also, if you fragment the food system and have less giant organizations, if you have one company that does get people sick, it's not going to be hundreds of thousands. It might be 100 or a couple hundred, which is still terrible.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but like it's not like a global or like national like whatever, like epidemic, like whatever. It's not as
We're not turning everybody into zombies with our weird meats and the world's.
And guess what? They're going to go out of business because you got them sick and problem solved.
Yeah.
And the world's a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Like we can't make it. We can't put bumpers on everything.
No.
Anyway, I digress.
No, I like it.
So 2022, you Dusty sounds like he's kind of like break down the so 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
There is yourself.
Yes.
Dusty,
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy,
and then David Chun, who is Quinby's dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All in the family. Because Quinby, he can't. Like, he was like, let's do it, but I can't do it with you. Go forth and conquer.
Okay.
My dad is interested in making an investment.
Oh, cool.
And David's like, just feed me and do a good job.
Got it. So
here's my resources.
So there's no bad blood between you and
Nope.
Sopro.
No.
And Jeremy is the executive chef
Jeremy's
for both.
at both.
Yeah, that's cool. And he doesn't have any conflict of interest having equity in both. Does he have equity?
He does not. Because
Okay,
he can't because of
this place.
Yeah.
Got it. So Jeremy the chef.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty, what's his lane?
Frierson, he is hospitality, bar, front of house. I mean, he's everything. He's the service and a lot of the visionary of let's take this to the next level.
Okay, so like biz dev and creative, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of creative on the food and really dialing in the hospitality.
Okay. Jeremy, executive chef,
yes.
Executor, also probably visionary with culinary.
Yes.
And what would you say your role is?
I am the GM here. I do all of our marketing. I'm the managing member of the company. I put their budgetary things together and drive the how.
Okay. You're the in the dirt person.
Yes, I'm the in the dirt person.
You build it.
I'm the one that complains about money and am constantly what drives revenue, because you have to have that person.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, and that's my job. That's the whole sentence.
I think I'm missing somebody. Is that the fourth partner strictly financial?
David is our investor, and then he has resources from his other companies that we use their accounting office and HR.
Got it.
Right. They follow our workman comps claims and all that fun stuff.
What's his business?
He he has some properties and stuff around town, and then he is the franchisee of Popeyes in the area.
Okay, so you basically use his office to do kind of outsource, kind of a fractional HR.
It's it's outsourcing HR and accounting.
Got it.
Yeah.
And okay, so what are the challenges associated with 4 partners?
Getting paperwork done.
Okay.
It's weirdly beautiful how well, it could fall apart in some years, but it's just, I do not have the level of experience Dusty and Nofke do, and so I'm always just thank you for letting me be a part of this, and they're thank you for doing your job and making our lives easier. So it's a great partnership there, but none of us really stay in our lane, but we also don't. We'll check our egos at the door on some things, Nofke is the culinary director of all these things, but we have people in the kitchen that are just pumping out some of the best specials. We're starting a new business. Nofke's he's like, I don't have time to come up with a feature. Emily, you want features? And these guys are making some incredible food and putting a lot of thought and energy into it, and he just lets them. And a lot of chefs are not like that.
Right.
And Dusty doesn't work here on the day-to-day. He has another job, but he is constantly just a sounding board. Our managers will call him and talk through problems with him because he has just so much experience taking care of customers, taking care of a team.
So you said you don't stay in your lane. Is there is there intentionality behind that, or do you think it's because of the fact that you're a year old and sometimes the lanes are just blurry still?
The lanes are just blurry still.
Yeah.
And like we'll get in our lanes if like we want to do more of these or more concepts in general, and we'll probably have to get in our lanes right now. But right now it's just like we're creating a brand identity that we want to expand beyond its neighborhood. We are putting a restaurant and product in Hattiesburg that it hasn't really seen before, this level of fusion and constantly changing menu items in the Asian food segment hasn't, and just like sit down full service with a amazing wine and cocktail program and beer program is not a thing in our town. And so we have to be ready to just always be firing to be like, what's next? Let's make it work. Let's make it work. To be totally honest, we had a great honeymoon and it kind of died off.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And we're like, but it died off faster and quicker. And we're like, why aren't they coming back? Why aren't more people coming? And we're like, we need to make changes. And I'm the one that will sit down and like, I ran all these reports. Here's the data I found. These are reports I pulled from Google Analytics. These are the comments I've pulled off of our Yelp and Google on reviews. And like, this is what our customers are saying.
What are they saying?
They were saying they wanted more. They wanted more ramen and dumplings and egg rolls, and they wanted to see features. Like the people, and there were customers that were like, it's not what I expect from the Asian restaurant down the street that has 300 something stores, because that's what we're used to when we think about Chinese food and Asian food in general. And
the American standard.
Yeah. They're like, I find this a little confusing, I guess is what they were really saying.
So when you say features, what do you mean by features?
Oh, we do every week. We're having a lunch feature. So the
specials?
Yes.
Okay. So they want more specials.
They want more specials.
Okay.
They want more specials. We want more specials because we can take that from the specials, and they wanted that reason to come back, because we hit those early, the foodies, the early adopters, and then now I feel like in the last few months where we're starting to see that uptick of still having so many people in our own backyard coming in and saying, I didn't know about you. Like, what is this?
What up, Unstoppables? I have a very special offer for you that could potentially change your life. So listen up. Restaurant Systems Pro wants to make 2025 your best year ever. And here's what they're going to do to help. When you sign up for Restaurant Systems Pro through February of 2025, they will do your books, your 2024 books for you at zero charge. Nothing to you, no cost to you to do your books. Plus, you're going to get all of the Restaurant Systems Pro profitability systems. So this is such a no-brainer deal. If you've heard of Restaurant Systems Pro in the past, listening to the podcast, and you've been interested, now is the time to sign up. Head to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP or click the link below and make 2025 your best year ever. Do you do to promote your business?
I harass people on the internet.
Okay, what is that?
I have a sign. We just lean into social media and bantering with people, but it's really just word of mouth and like people coming in, having a good experience, telling their friends. We also people can mail postcards with us, and that's part of the experience, and just people check in and want to be a part of it, and interacting a lot with our customer online.
Don't let me forget to buy a postcard from you.
You just get one. We'll mail it for you too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I put my own message on it. Or do you like?
Yeah,
okay.
You write whatever you want, and
that.
you can send it to somebody.
$2, right?
$0.
$0. So that's the marketing.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the brand out there.
Yeah.
I love that. So I noticed you're in DoorDash.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at DoorDash as a marketing place?
I do. I've been playing around with that a lot more in the last 6 months and stuff, and trying to figure out how to, because they they have their fees, and trusting that the customer will pay that extra buck to get it and not having to eat all of it.
$2 extra.
Yeah.
Your beef broccoli is $14 in house and $16 on DoorDash.
Yeah. Well,
but I commend you for it. I think you need to offset your costs because they're tapping into your profit.
You have to. I can't just to get that. Yes, I can get that revenue from getting a few more orders out the door. But if I'm going to eat every bit of profit I can make, then what's...
Do you communicate to your guests that if they choose to order directly through you and pick it up, they can save money?
Mm-mm.
Do you think you should?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why should you?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like people know what they're getting with DoorDash, and they know that there's these upcharges that come with it, or maybe I'm... I think the consumer is horribly ignorant, if I'm being completely honest. I think they're lazy and they want to tap something. Yeah.
And they have no clue what it means for the restaurant. And they're like, it's just, I don't know.
But I don't think that they're sitting there. I have had some people and be like, man, that's expensive. And I'm like, well, you're getting it brought to you and here's the fees. And I do outreach on the customer. Like, you can message the customers that you get from DoorDash, but I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, stop using DoorDash. And you can message the customers that are on your Toast Takeout, and I'll send out emails being like, hey, here's, Happy New Year. Here's $5 because y'all have given us a great first year.
I mean, it's one thing if you're ordering for delivery, right? Like, if you don't have your own native delivery. Is that something you ever considered?
No, we're just not in that big enough of a market for me to see that it's of a value.
Yeah.
Because we have that third party. And, if I get 3 delivery orders and my one delivery driver's 10 miles down the road because I don't have enough of the radius to do it here, that's not a good experience for the customer. I think they rather just pay the premium knowing that I can hop on this app and get it. One
thing that I forgot to ask, and I'm trying to get better about asking, a big challenge for first-time restaurateurs started from scratch is getting the capital. This is all your first restaurant that you own together, right? Yes. So where did you guys raise the money?
Quimby's dad, David Chun, is our investor.
Okay,
he's
so
our
100%
sole investor.
Is how do you spell his last name?
Chunn.
What nationality?
English.
English. Okay. Yeah. Do you ever get harassed for cultural appropriation with this concept?
we've had a couple comments, but I'm like,
I think it's bullshit.
We love it. And that's my response is it's a genuine, I
think we need to get over that.
I'm just we love this food. We did this restaurant because our chef loves this food.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's the best, flavor.
I think at the end of the day, anybody can cook any food as long as they're not disrespectful.
Yeah. We're not being disrespectful.
And if you're not claiming to be authentic, you identify as a fusion Asian, Asian inspired fusion or whatever. I mean, if how many people from all walks of life own pizza concepts? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Italians aren't getting pissed off. No. I don't mind. I think that we can.
Are you Italian?
I'm Italian. Last name's Cacciatore. Come on.
That's true.
So I feel like there's being disrespectful and paying homage to the culture. Yeah. But I think that when the markets get upset about cultural appropriation, it's just, I think we're going in this direction. The future is going to be a very diverse world. The days of people being 100% a culture are very far and few in between. Those days are going away as the world gets smaller. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's one big world too.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just how I feel.
We're one small world. But I don't think I think be respectful, obviously, and I don't want to ever put anything, especially out in putting marketing messages, because I can say some dumb stuff on our social media, but I never want to hurt anybody's feelings with any of it. I just want people to have fun and have a good experience.
Respect the culture.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think you need to beat that up anymore. Yeah. So you got it's great. You have your investor. What do you think it was about having that investor? Was it because of the backing of Quimby, that having somebody who vouched for this team of people that were coming together? Was it hard to convince David, or was he just chomping at the bit?
No, he was happy to do it, and he's seen what I've done at SoPro for the last several years. He's familiar with Jeremy Nofke and Dusty Frierson being what they are in our community.
So he's looking at it as a good investment.
He's looking at it. God, I hope he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking at it as a good investment and an opportunity for people that he believes in.
So for you personally, Emily, your personal struggles over the past year, where's the struggle been for you?
Oh my God. Believing that I can have it all. You know, when I'm not here, I feel guilty that I'm not with my husband and 6-year-old that have been super supportive. And then when I'm, and then vice versa when it's the other way around. And I've found myself in the last several years being good at that work-life balance and knowing that I need to take those days off. But I also just like always think like, I gotta be better at this. Like, let's streamline. Let's get it together. And
what's better look like? How do you be better?
Just everything's firing on that like next level of hospitality. Those little like tiny little things that fall apart for the customers that they might not even notice, or falls apart getting the food out to the customer, and like that perfect experience.
What would happen if you didn't show up for a week?
Honestly, I think they would be fine.
Yeah,
I really do. They because I've got such a great team. I mean, Rachel came with me from SoPro. We trained her replacement, and who's the people are first. The social media might fall apart, and I might have a pile of like paperwork to get done. But I think the day in, day out of this restaurant giving good service would be just fine.
Have you heard of Mimi's Dumplings out of Boston by any chance?
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know a lot about it actually, but I think I've seen it on like Instagram or something.
Yeah, I've had her on the show. Just you saying hand rolling your own dumplings from scratch.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's worth it though. It's so good.
There's also maybe an opportunity there for the experience economy in selling classes on how to do that.
Yeah.
You know, just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Chad, let's go.
Yeah. You know, she's killing it with classes right now, and online ordering is just freezing dumplings and selling it. You know, like, just like there's, I don't know.
It's just wild watching what people can do with, like, we sit here and we talk about and I'm bad about wanting to do that 10 steps ahead and saying, let's perfect this. The next 3 months we perfect this. The next 3 months we perfect this. And like, we want to grow and do all these other things. But it is just absolutely wild watching what people can do to have all of this other income from their business. Like, watching, like, she's doing the dumpling classes and then selling the frozen dumplings. I've watched like a pasta rolling class online one day because I was like, yeah, I'm going to give this lady like $30 and see what it is. And she had people that were on there just asking a million questions while she's about to go work her next shift at her restaurant.
I mean, there's people that are willing to pay. I mean, I think it's really good that the restaurant industry explore other channels of revenue. Mm-hmm. They're experts in a lot of ways. Thinking of Robert St. John right now, who he's gone 4 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. He travels all over Europe, and he hosts these experiential like tours where he's not the guide, but he's hosting people, bringing them to the guides, and he just knows where to go. Yeah. And people pay good money for that. You know, if you're an expert on a subject, an expert on an area, you can share that knowledge. That knowledge is valuable. You know, I think a lot of times one of the things I've learned with this podcast is it's about sharing perspective and saying, you know, there's the traditional 1905 restaurant business model where if you're making 5%, you're doing good. And there's all this other vertical like opportunity all around us that we just don't see because our head is down. Yeah. And we're just doing what we were taught from the previous generation, just rinse and repeat. But over the past 15 years, 20 years, with like the digitization of the world, and like there's just so much out there, you know, it's interesting. But it's also putting yourself out there. Like, I feel like this is the most I've talked about myself in a really long time. Well, I appreciate you talking about it. Hopefully it's an uncomfortable feeling, honestly, because I'm used to talking. Like, I just want to talk about these guys because they're my bread and butter. So, yeah. I'm curious. You said you were willing to talk about prime costs. Yes. So where are you with your prime costs? What do you mean by prime cost? So give me what you're looking for. What are your costs of labor? Yeah. And your cost of goods. My
cost of labor is sitting about 25% right now.
Okay.
Which has been I'm really proud of that. Like, we got there. And then our cost of goods, we came out of the gate, like, crushing it on cost of goods. Our cost of goods are sitting with disposables and everything put in at like 30 to 40% month
It's like
to month.
55%.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's right in there. That where they say you should be.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, the labor was intensive getting all of, like, we worked to get to that 25.
I'm curious, within your cost, your labor cost, is owner's pay lumped into that? Do you guys pay yourselves a check?
That is not in there.
So do you pay yourself with profit?
Yes.
Or is there a separate owner's pay?
We built into our, like, being totally honest here, built into getting this off the ground, our labor stayed on that loan for so long.
Okay, so with the loan, well, I think that's actually smart. I think a lot of times when people open restaurants, they think, okay, I just need enough to, like, literally get the doors open and to start making money. But the truth is, you need, they say, a minimum of a year of operating capital in the bank.
And that's insane.
Yeah, to, like, expect to not make any money for a year.
Yeah, we've just gotten that 1 year under our belt, and so the data now for me is taking what we've taken this data from the last year, and, like, it took us time to get to where we were operating in the black, and I like it's honestly new for us.
Yeah. So in terms of tech stack and things like this, what are you leveraging to manage your systems? Are you leveraging technology to stay on top of your systems?
We use
Toast,
but we're not using any of the, like, we're spreadsheet people.
Okay.
We have some really great spreadsheets that take no time at all, and we put them together. I haven't done any of, like, the extra chef or anything like that. We use Sling to communicate with our team, and social media. That's about it. Like, we're spreadsheets, and
there are 1,000,001 different ways to run your restaurant.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as you're running systems, if you're using as long as you have a system and it's working for you, that's the most important thing. Yeah. And you can scale over time as you figure out where you need it and where you want it.
It's just not a necessary expense for us to do anything extra with all of that stuff right now. We've, coming from the brewing industry, we did have a lot of systems that we used, but it hasn't been necessary. I mean, because Nofke, he can keep inventory management in his sleep. So we just, first of the month, everybody's doing inventory, put it in the spreadsheets that are built. I compile it, get it to accounting for QuickBooks, and get our balance sheets knocked out. And
do you have a vision for yourself?
I want to buy a boat.
Nice.
I want boat money. A pontoon boat. I don't care. It doesn't have to be. I just want to make places that are great for people to work and that can be part of this industry, and, like, kids that come in and, like, it's just a job, and I'm like, nothing's just a job if you don't make it just a job. Like, there's things to take and learn, and, like, let's hone these skills, and I can give you a good reference across the industry, the board, and a lot of things. I see
a lot of people coming to the restaurant industry in the future. I think as people lose their white collar jobs to AI, and there's things that AI will just be able to do way better than people. But at the end of the day, the hospitality industry is about relationships and about coming together and being around people. And I think that as people wake up and become more conscious about where their food comes from, they're going to more and more money. It's going to become a higher priority for people to spend money on food, because they know that the more money they spend on food, the better quality the food's going to be. That more it's going to be food as medicine. Treating, respecting food also means respecting the earth. I think that's a rising value for people.
Yeah. And
I think to do it the right way is the hard way. And I think you need humans for that. You need labor, and all the way from production to, processing to delivering the hospitality. I think that people are going to start to come in droves to the hospitality industry. And to your point, I think the real magic is realizing that you can use this industry to create opportunity for others and say that this isn't just a job, it's a career. And I think that we're moving in that direction.
Well, and that creating like using food as, what did you say, therapy? Using food as
just
medicine.
now?
Using food as medicine.
Yeah.
That's such a
but it's therapy
big
too.
thing. Yeah, but that's such a big thing, and just reminding our staff constantly. We talk about like, you don't know what kind of day somebody had, and they're coming in here giving you their hard-earned money. Like, make it as perfect as you possibly can, because you're healing a bad day or helping a better day be better. And we had this lady come in, and she was just like, I've had the worst day possible, so I had to come to big trouble to like make it better. I'm like, yes, that means that we're doing exactly what we want to do for people.
We're also learning more and more about people and how we tick and what we need to be happy.
Yeah.
And what we're learning is that, really we have everything we need.
Yeah.
And really what we need is to be seen and to have opportunity to feel like we're growing, to feel like we're safe, to feel like, we can give back. We can be of value to our community. And the restaurant industry literally checks all those boxes. It's hard to shake the stick at the impact this industry can have when you look at other, also third largest industry in the world behind healthcare and the government. Tell me we don't have transformative power.
We can.
We can definitely do it.
But it's also a lot of small businesses that are needing to like you said, they're putting their heads down and grinding it out and not thinking about what we could do together.
Do you talk to any other restaurants in this town?
I talk with Kyle is a good friend. I talked to obviously the people at SoPro, a lot of the management team. Oh yeah, you don't know Kyle. He owns Art of Rue. It's a po' boy shop out west. Buddies with a lot of Nelson Haskins has a restaurant group of one downtown, and a lot of his staff will bounce back and forth on some things.
You guys all share information?
Not really. We probably could. It hasn't. Nobody. I think maybe none of us have sat down and said like, let's share. Let's have the airing of the grievances nights, and we just haven't done that.
I've been to a lot of cities and a lot of a lot of different areas of the country, and there's definitely a pattern of the people who always rise to the top are always the people who are willing to work with each other and to lift each other up and to support, not to compete against. Maybe like a friendly competition, like, oh, like, what were your numbers this week? Oh, you beat us, but like, how'd you do that? Here's how I did it.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening here is that those values are there in this organization, because you're coming together. You see the power of working together to go further to get together and under the same roof. And I mean, even the fact that you're willing to talk and reach out to these people, I think it's happening.
Well, it is, and it's nice to know like you're not. The other day, and I love coming to work every single day, but the other day, literally, I'm standing there because a floor drain backed up, trying to get that fixed, while in the city arguing about water pressure, while I've got a guy in to fix the ice maker, and I'm looking at floor plans trying to figure out where do we like get this fixed, and I'm like, this sucks, but I'm having so much fun because it is just a problem I can fix.
Yeah, but now you know, and the next time you need that thing happens, you go to your SOPs or your protocol lists, and you go, something broke with the toilet or whatever, like plumbing. Yeah. Call this number, and that list just keeps building. But you got to do the work to get it there. And you're doing it.
But it's fun.
100%. So the mission statement is to change the world through inspiring, empowering, and transforming the industry. What change do you want to see in the world that you think the restaurant industry can be a part of that change?
What change do I want to see in the world that the restaurant industry could be part of? I want to see people slow down more than I feel like we have been in the last several years, and just take moments for ourselves and not necessarily say, myself included, like I've got to next work. I've got to grind out. I want people to like sit down and be happy in the moment. And I think that we're a big part of that, and that you can have a day where nobody knows where you are and nothing matters.
So what has to change in the restaurant industry to achieve that?
We have to remember that people need days off, and like I see people that are still, they're the salaried manager and they're working 60-hour weeks, and I don't think that is sustainable. And I think that everybody needs a 2-day weekend. All of my managers have 2-day weekends, and occasionally something will happen, and because we're operating every single day and we don't have the traditional we're closed 2 days, we're not that. So
I can't remember the gentleman's name. 1,153 episodes. It's hard to keep track of things, but I'm pretty sure it was in Pittsburgh. They have a mandatory 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
You cannot work more than 40 hours. Yeah. And what ends up happening is they're just crazy efficient because they know they have to take that time off. They're not allowed to be there. And they get it done. So I think it's possible. You when you think about in the restaurant industry, how much time, are we like really the most efficient industry with time? Like,
no.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
We're not.
For sure. So I think it is 100% possible, and I agree with you. So what about you personally? So if the mission statement is to change the world through inspiring, empowering the industry, how have you personally changed? How are you a better person today, or how have you transformed?
How have I transformed today? I am more honest with people about what I need done, and I'm more patient with mistakes, and knowing, just always, I think I've said it 8 times now, like remembering that people genuinely want to do a good job, and when they're not, we can get to the bottom of it and figure it out. And I've focused a lot of my energy on being patient with people, and just because I'm wanting to operate at the tip top, if they're operating not there, like, we can get there together, and it's not me being frustrated with them or myself, it's getting to a solution.
I love that. What's one thing about your business, a value, a process, a system, anything that makes you truly unstoppable?
We're everybody's best friend.
I love that.
We're everybody's favorite. If
you got the news, this is the last question, by the way, and it's a doozy, so get ready for it. If you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. All the memories of you, your work, and your restaurants would be lost with your departure, with the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom that you could leave behind, 3 things that you've learned through your years climbing up the ladder that you could pay forward to the next generation. What would those 3 pieces of wisdom be?
Laugh every day.
1.
Take time off of work.
2.
Say yes to every single project that comes your way until you can't possibly say yes anymore. I
love that. And that say yes thing, I think you're 100% right. And I think that there's a time where, like, you hit your yes firewall, and then it's a matter of, like, everything you say yes to is something else you have to say no to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think early on, like, you just take it from the fire hose, man. Like, just take it and, like, figure it out, and, like, that will help you become so self-aware of where you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very powerful. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Emily. We like to officially wrap up by having my guests call somebody out. So I found you because people in Hattiesburg were saying you should go talk to what's going on over on at, like, Big Trouble. They're doing great stuff. Here's Emily's email. Get in touch with her. I made it happen. Who do you respect and admire? If somebody's in this city that I need to get on the show.
In Hattiesburg?
In Hattiesburg. Who's that? Who am I missing?
Oh, God. Quenby and Ben over at Sopro, of course.
Yeah, I'd love to make that happen.
And then Kyle Bass over at Art of Brew.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, I'll be rolling through this part.
Honestly, the Taco Bell next door.
The Taco Bell?
Yeah, Taco Bell's got it going on.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The franchise owner?
I don't know anything about him. I just think it's a good Taco Bell.
It's got it going on?
Yeah, don't meet your heroes. I don't know them.
I'm gonna go in and be a secret shopper. I'll turn my hat around.
You're gonna be like, this is like every other Taco Bell in the world. You're just like, it's got you through some emotional.
Supreme for dinner.
Ooh, that's my go-to. Yeah. You just got me through some emotional times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just love Taco Bell as a franchise anyway.
I love it.
Yeah.
So look out, guys. I'm coming after you the next time I roll through. And how can we connect with you if we enjoyed today's conversation? We have questions. Personal or business email, social handles, anything you feel comfortable
my with. Instagram is Emily_and_stuff. It's mostly like music that I listen to on.
She doesn't have any hobbies.
I don't have any hobbies. There's pictures of my kid. I read a lot, and like I think whatever song you listen to on the way into work is very important to set the tone of your day. So I share my music every day. And I think you can find me on LinkedIn at Emily Donald Curry.
And what about Sopro?
And
not Sopro,
yeah,
Big Trouble.
I talked about Sopro a lot, and like that's in my heart. It's at Eat Big Trouble on Instagram, and then we have a Facebook page, and then you can go to eatbigtrouble.com.
Got it.
And that's contacted Eat Big Trouble will get to me.
Yeah, and I only say that you don't have any hobbies because you put that on your Instagram.
I don't. I go outside.
That's not my opinion. I'm just regurgitating your own words. I am curious. I meant to ask this, and it's coming to my mind. I want to ask before we officially wrap up. You said you're a voracious reader. Which books do you think every restaurant owner should read?
Oh my God. Good to Great is Jim Collins is an amazing story. And then obviously the Setting the Table there, it's fantastic. But I will draw a lot of inspiration for what I'm doing from non-restaurant industry books.
Give us an example.
Oh God. Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles, which is fiction. He has this one. I went and scrolled through my quotes because I write a lot of quotes down on my phone, and it was very unhinged, all of the notes in my phone. We can unpack that later with chat GTP therapy or something. But he alliterates just small moments in your life so well. Just like how he describes the Count eating Latvian stew for the first time, or him losing access to wine, or this guy that ran a restaurant that this character went into 7 years ago, and how he still thinks about how he walks about the room and makes everybody feel special. So I'm a big fiction reader on it, like place and taking you out of the story.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
And this is where I say thank you so much, Emily, for taking the time to sit with us, to get vulnerable, to share your information, to share your perspective. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.